I'm on my period. Let's just get that out of the way, which is why I will be conducting the majority of this video from my bed as well. Today's video is basically my strategies and plan of action on how I deal with and manage my period, because if you're like me, or like half the population, you experience a period for probably about 25% of every month, and when you think about it, that is a lot of time in life. And I feel like periods are just not talked about, like they're this weird hush-hush thing, as if, again, like half the population doesn't experience them, and I wish more people would talk about them. So that's what I'm here to do today. Especially if you're like me, which I've talked about this in another video before, but I experienced something called PMDD, which is basically a severe form of PMS. And again, I've never really heard anyone talk about it, and I had to learn about it all on my own, and I now want to be that voice for the other people that could learn about it. But pretty much PMDD, like I said, is a severe form of PMS, which just has extreme physical and mental symptoms. BuzzFeed actually has a really good video about someone talking about their experience. I'm actually the top comment on that video from like 3 years ago. But just to drive home how extreme it is, it's very miscommonly diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Like that's how extreme the highs and lows are, except the highs and lows are in correlation with your period. So this is what I've been struggling with for majority of my life, and after figuring out what this diagnosis is, I've just been observing a lot, learning a lot about myself, and trying again to come up with strategies and plans to deal with this thing that just naturally is, and I have to deal with at least a week or two every month. I would also like to say a big thank you to Hilma for sponsoring this video, and I will talk more about their products in a bit. But there we go, that's my little intro, and let's talk periods. So I'm gonna break this kind of into two parts: how I manage my mental and emotional health, and then all my physical symptoms as well, because again, I'm gonna go in a little bit more detail. Things get really rough around this time, really rough. I'm kind of at the end of my period right now, so I'm feeling in a better mood, but this past week, first thing I do is I know when it's coming and I just clock out. I know that this week I'm just off the clock from life. Luckily, I have a lifestyle that kind of allows me to make my own hours and time, but even when I was like working retail or going to school, I would do the bare minimum of what I had to do, and then the rest of the time I would just rest and take off and just know that like I can only give the bare minimum. So another thing I struggle with majorly when I'm on my period is bloating. Honestly, this is one of like the worst symptoms, because no matter what I eat or do or don't eat, because also my appetite is like all over the place, I just feel bloated all the time. So I have recently discovered a new product that's been helping me so much with my bloating, and that is again today's sponsor, which is Hilma. So I feel like I have tried like every product under the sun to help with my period symptoms, and Hilma is one that's actually really been working for me. It is like a natural alternative to what you would typically find at the drugstore to help with gas and bloat relief. And I know bloating is not like the most fabulous thing to talk about, but it happens, okay? We're being real in this video. So this works in the moment as like a natural remedy to help with bloating, and I take this. I recommend it is 2 capsules, so I take it in the morning with like all my other vitamins, and this entire week that I've been taking it, I just have not been nearly as bloated, or not bloated at all some days, which has been a miracle, because like I said, I get super bloated. I feel like I'm like 3 months pregnant the entire week of my period, which is ironic because that means you're not pregnant. Anyway, and you guys know how I like to use very natural and again vegan, cruelty-free stuff, which Hilma checks all those boxes. Plus I also don't like to rely on a lot of different like medications or supplements. So the main ingredient that helps with the bloating in here is peppermint leaf, which you can actually like smell it when you open the bottle. It smells pepperminty, and peppermint has been shown to reduce bloating and help with upset stomach and stuff like that. So I want to say thank you to Hilma for sponsoring this video, because you guys know I don't take sponsorships lightly, and I only truly show off products that I enjoy and use. And they have a few other products as well, such as a stomach reset and an upset stomach relief, but I've been really enjoying the bloating one. So if you're interested, you can head to the description box and make sure you use my code on the Hilma website for 20% off your order. And I just want to say another thank you to Hilma for sponsoring this video. So for me, mentally, the week before and of my period, I pretty much just get very depressed. I mean, I'm doing much better than I was in previous years, but I just know that my mood is very low. I'm extremely exhausted. I have very little room for temper or irritability, and I'm just not good. The first thing I kind of do is tell my friends and my support system, I'm like, hey, I'm on my period this week, so sorry if I'm kind of distant, or if I don't feel like going out, or if I don't text too much. And all my friends and my family know that I have this and go through this, so they're very understanding and they know, but also it kind of takes the pressure off them and wondering why I'm not texting back, or if I'm going through something or mad at them. They know, oh, okay, she's just on her period, she needs a little space. I think one of the best things you can do, especially if it is any sort of illness, whether it be physical or mental, is just get the best support system you can and let them know, even if they can't really do anything to fix it, at least people know and they're aware, and you don't have to go through it alone if you are struggling. And the other most important thing I've learned, especially after getting my diagnosis, and again this goes for any diagnosis that you may have, is just kind of accepting it, which I know is very hard, but for so many years I just tried to fight against having these bad thoughts or feelings or having these symptoms. I would just be so angry that this is something that I have to go through, and I'd be like, why me? Like, why do I have to go through this? But once I've learned that it is just a part of me, how it is now, and I do my best to manage it. Sometimes when you fight too hard against whatever it is that you're struggling with, it kind of loops back around and has a negative effect because you're expending so much energy trying to get rid of it. I know that could be kind of a controversial topic, but once I've actually learned the name of my diagnosis, PMDD, and that it's not just depression out of nowhere, it's not just these crazy emotions and physical symptoms out of nowhere, like there's an actual diagnosis and it's a thing, it's made it much more easy for me to accept and be like, yeah, it sucks, of course I wish I didn't have this, but it's a real thing and all I can do is manage it the best that I can and try to make myself as comfortable as I can. So like I said, I kind of clock out, which for me, I just allow myself to rest. Like again, if you have a job or school or something, do what you can, but don't also get mad at yourself if you can't do your normal functioning level, because for me, I see this as an illness, it's a condition, and whatever you're struggling with, if you have something different or the same, you just kind of have to work alongside it and give your best instead of trying so hard to fight against it. So I know for at least a week, I'm just chilling, probably not going out, probably not doing anything super social, maybe laying in bed for 16 hours a day. I don't know. Whatever I need to do, I just listen to my body and do it. However, I also keep a stash of activities that I can do that I know will help me feel better if I have the energy for them. So I call these like my serotonin activities, things I know will be stress-free, low thought process needing. So things like reading, watching Netflix, painting, drawing, overall just doing something creative, and again, just very like stress-free and not much thought or effort going into it. And then also for my mentality, like I said, I can get very depressed during these times, and alongside of that comes a lot of other negative, nasty thoughts. Pretty much the week of my period, all self-confidence just goes right out the window, and I have really bad self-deprecating thoughts and bad self-body image. And now that I know that this is a part of my symptoms that I get with my PMDD, I can distance myself from it and recognize, okay, these aren't actually my thoughts, these are just like the depression talking. None of this is true. Like again, it really sucks going through all of this, but I can kind of separate myself from it and be like, this isn't actually me. These thoughts aren't real. They're just my brain talking, and I don't need to listen to them. Everything will be back to normal hopefully in like a week or two. But if I feel that these thoughts are consistently nagging at me or just overwhelming me, or the anxiety is getting to me, then I really like to journal as well. I like to journal on a regular basis, but especially during these times, just journaling to get the thoughts out of my head, it kind of brings them into a physical point, and it lets me see them again at like a distance and be like, okay, these aren't actually me, these aren't my thoughts, and just literally like release them from my body. Okay, now we're gonna talk about how I manage my physical symptoms, which I'm kind of struggling with right now as I sit here because my back is absolutely killing me. I get extreme back aches. There was a point where I was working retail and I would have to like sit down every 30 minutes because I felt like I sprained my back, when really it was just back cramps for my period, which is another reason why I like will lay down for like 3 days straight because my back hurts so bad. So heating pad, your best friend, alongside whatever pain medication you like. I usually like Tylenol, I find that works pretty well for me, but heating pad, you need this in your stash. This was like $20 I think from Target. It just helps to relieve the pain. Of course, sometimes you can't really get rid of the pain as well as every other symptom I'm talking about, but helps relieve it and make you much more comfortable. So a heating pad is a must-have. Next thing, comfy clothes. I am in hoodies and sweatshirts and yoga pants and sweatpants the entire week. I don't care. I only put on a little bit of makeup today for my video, but I'm not even like doing my makeup or hair or anything. In my arsenal to combat against my physical symptoms is light stretching and yoga. Like I know I do this generally anyway, and sometimes it's really hard when you're on your period to like do anything physical. Believe me, if I didn't have to walk Zoe, I would stay in my room in my house all day. Again, when my back is hurting or anything else is sore, I just find that doing some light stretching and kind of getting movement, especially if you're laying in bed all day, helps a little bit, not only both physically but mentally as well, because it's very relaxing. I think it's only right as well if we talk tampons. Tampons are normal things. Let's not get weird here. It's a piece of plastic and cotton. Personally, my favorite are this L period brand. They're organic tampons. They're actually, I think, like the same price as regular tampons, because I know sometimes you see organic, they're like, oh, they're too expensive. But I've done some research and I read that organic tampons have helped with cramping and some other physical symptoms compared to like your regular non-organic tampons. I don't know. I heard less cramping and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I actually really like these a lot. And finally, let's talk food and drink. You first need water, lots of water. Make sure you're staying hydrated, but I feel like that just goes hand in hand with any sort of illness and just regular living. But for food, this is a toss-up because, like I mentioned before, my appetite is like all over the place. Sometimes I am your typical starving munchy monster and eating everything in my sight, and I need all the snacks and chocolate and chips and stuff like that. And then the next day I could have absolutely no appetite at all. I am super nauseous, everything is like turning me off and everything is gonna make me feel sick. It really honestly is a gamble every day of my period. So what I like to do is keep a good balance of like snacks and healthy food, because I'm not gonna deny myself the snacks that I want on my period. Period cravings are real, and if I want chips, I'm gonna eat them. So I try to keep a good combination of like my snacks, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of like popcorn or chips or whatever, and then my typical like healthy meals for when I do have an appetite and I'm like, okay, I need a full meal right now, let's eat something balanced, something satiating, something that'll keep me full and not make me feel sick or gross. There's also a lot of research that supports eating different types of foods for different phases of your period, which could be a whole nother video. If you want, I could go into that because I've been doing a lot of research on that as well. But certain foods support different parts of your period, and if you didn't know, there's 4 phases of your period. I feel like that's a whole other like health class lesson I could give. But I like to keep those type of foods on hand, but mostly I try to focus on like whole natural foods, which I eat on a daily basis. But again, I'm not going to deny myself any sort of snacks or cravings that I want. And on the days when I'm not really hungry and everything is making me nauseous, again, I just try to make sure to stay super hydrated, eat enough to support me throughout the day. But again, don't force myself to not listen to my body. Okay, I feel like I've talked enough. I hope this video was helpful in any sort of way, because again, I feel like we need to talk more about periods. I wish I had more information when I was first going through my diagnosis and trying to figure this all out and not having to learn it all on my own. So I just want to be kind of there to support you if you do have a period as well. And I'm really just tired of society like telling us to stop talking about periods or not talk about them at all. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and make sure that you stay tuned to my next video. Peace.